Tonight, the exclusive one-on-one interview with Tony Graves. Tonight, we got the chance to sit down with Tony Graves on Wednesday as he gets geared up to compete in nationals this weekend. What he said in his exclusive interview, our shortened version for you right now, and then this afternoon, the full 20-minute episode.
From Shepherd Hill Regional High School, this is Shepherd Hill Sports Zone with Cameron Simpson.
Hello everyone, and thank you so much for being with us on this episode of Sports Zone on this Friday. It's great to be with you. Today we have the exclusive interview of Tony Graves to show to you. Tony sat down with me on Wednesday as we were up on the track to watch his final preparations before a big meet this weekend, Nationals. It's the second time competing in Nationals, and he's told us a story about how he got into track. He also told us the preparation, what he's learned about this sport, what's his future goals and endeavors. And of course, the full episode, the full interview this afternoon. But here is a look at our interview with Tony Graves.
On Wednesday afternoon, I got the opportunity to head up to the track and follow along with Tony Graves as he prepared for Nationals.
I want to start with how you got into track. And if you could tell our viewers the story, how did you end up stumbling on running track?
Okay, yeah, well, freshman year, I played football, right? And then towards the end of the year, I had an elbow injury, so I had to get surgery for it. And that surgery kind of put me in like a bad headspace. I was like, I don't know if I could ever play like football again, just play any sports in general. And so when winter season rolled around, a bunch of my friends from football were doing track, along with a bunch of his friends from school. So I decided, might as well be kind of like a social thing, just to get out there, like be outside. It was winter, so it was cold, but it was good to be outside with your friends, kind of just exercising. And so always a fun thing for me being with the boys.
So obviously that was a setback, and you go to the track season because that's what everyone is doing, but you invested so much time that freshman year. What made you really take it as serious as you did?
Yeah, so I always kind of was laid back until middle to end of the season when Coach Harmon brought up the opportunity of me going to Nationals as a freshman. I was like, wow, that could be really cool. And so he gave me about a 2-week heads up that I was running a race in Boston to qualify. And so once he gave me that heads up, I kind of started taking it more seriously with my recovery and all like that. And then once I ran that race in Boston, I crossed that line and I looked to my left and I see the timer and I was like, oh, I know I did it. And I saw it on the board and it was just that feeling. I was ecstatic. I knew that I got to where I wanted to go, but it wasn't good enough for me. I kind of want to keep going a step further in my career.
Preparation has become such a big deal for Graves, and we watched some of his preparation just 2 days before the Nationals tournament.
So it's kind of like midweek right now, so it's kind of last workout before big meet this weekend. So just a couple of 60s today. I've been focusing on that transition phase from my 10 to 30 and then my 30 to 50. That in between what should be reaching top speed. Today, I'm really trying to focus on coming off the turn hot. I'm at 200. I really have to get a good excel and position myself to come off here. But it's a good race. I usually run the 300 indoor, but at Nationals it's the 2. So it should be a fun race, really good competition across the country, so I'm really excited for that. Yeah, it's on the little things, especially from warm-up to secondary to doing our plyos. People think it's just like, yeah, you kind of get out there and just run, but it's a little harder than that, especially with sprinting where it's a huge technical game with your form. So if you don't do the drills right with the right form, you either get hurt or just kind of set yourself up for failure in the future. So especially this year, as being a junior and upperclassman, I'm running this championship division with people from across the country. This one kind of hits different from me because all the other meets, it was best in Massachusetts or best in kind of New England, the region. But just this meet being the best in the country with people running at the high level schools, people like juniors in high school committed to A&M, Georgia, Texas, all these huge schools that'll be at the meet I'm running in and running against them. So this preparation period has been a lot different. I really prioritized my recovery and my split up training weeks. Before my training weeks, I would do a lot of sprinting and a little bit of recovery, but this past month I've been taking it down on the load, sprinting, and bringing up the intensity, so only a couple reps really, really fast. And I think it really impacted me because it helped my recovery versus my body just being recovered
after practice and before practice, like rolling out and bath, stuff like that. So that recovery aspect has really been a huge thing for me, especially in the last couple weeks.
There's a large list of achievements this year. You got a couple personal bests in many categories. Just this season, you broke another school record in the 300, 13th in New England, 11th Massachusetts, 2nd in D3. And you're going back to nationals in a little while.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that first time, though. What was the feeling for you when you headed up to the nationals?
I mean, that feeling was so cool. After I qualified, I just rode with my dad, gave my dad a big hug, and once first, I was supposed to go to New Balance in Boston, and a couple days go by after I qualified, and I haven't heard from Coach, so I emailed, hey Coach, what's going on? He said, yeah, Boston's full. And right when I heard that feeling of like despair in me just hit. And then but then a few days later, my parents surprised me and they FaceTimed me, my dad's at work, and they said, hey, we know you really want to go to New Balance Nationals, but there's an opportunity in New York for you at Nike. And at that moment, I was just so relieved and knew I had that opportunity again. And I knew that when I did go to New York that freshman year, that I would perform my best and just give it everything.
When did you come up on learning stuff about how this will affect your body on your own, or was that really something that someone taught to you?
Yeah, to be honest, I knew nothing coming in as a freshman. It was a really humbling experience when I go to these meets and there's these kids who are running so much faster than me and they're my same age. And after that, I kind of fell in love with the sport. I started doing my research on YouTube. I'm reading like documents from doctors and all these like other little things. And I even have like a little journal I write in, but just starting the learning process as a freshman and see how it's like evolved as sophomore and junior, it really helped me peak in my performance earlier in the year. And just with all these things that accumulate together, it's just like a really huge thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, sprinting is probably one of the most physical, exhausting things to do. So I can only do it about 2 or 3 times a week. I mean, your nervous system which isn't built to do it every day. So people will say, oh, just sprint every day, get faster. It's not how that works. But yeah, recovery is really important for me. I go home, practice, do an ice bath, roll out, and then before bed, either a hot bath or in a hot tub, kind of loosen up all the muscles before the next day of practice.
When I used to not part of the recovery, I'd have a little injury and they would just spiral out into little nagging things throughout the whole year. And I think as a freshman, I could have prioritized that a lot better. It's been a lot better as a freshman, but the weeks I missed were just vital training weeks, preseason and midseason, and that kind of set me for failure later on. So as trying to be a leader as a junior and upperclassman senior, I think that just emphasizing that the little things that may look dumb, the little soft tissue in the weight room, in the abs, it stacks up. As Coach says, you gotta stack the pancakes. You don't start one. So, and once that stack gets so high, you really hit a peak of, oh, I feel great right now. Just learning, doing research on all the little things really helped me a lot. And I think Coach really opened my eyes into the aspect that I might be running against people, but in my head, I'm running against me. So I think just that in my head, I used to think, oh, like I'm always this good. But it was just humbling when there's just kids who are my age across the country that are just running seconds faster, 2 seconds faster. I'm like, damn, like I want to go to college for this, but just seeing how they're evolving really just got me in my head. And so I think that really affected my early season.
What is the feeling like when you're on that line and you're waiting for the signal to go? And how do you try to clear out what you were talking about, that mental side of the game?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, I'll get to the meet, I'll warm up, and then I'll get in my line for my race. I'm usually in like the later heats, and I'm waiting that line. Same heat 8, heat 4 goes, heat 5 goes. Now, oh man, I gotta run. You know, my heart starts pumping, and then right before I say a little prayer, and I think after that, my head just clears. Everything just goes away. I go blank, and then I walk to the finish line. And I put my hands down, and I hear set. And I hear set. I take a big deep breath. And I close my eyes for a second, and I go, please just help me. And then when that gun goes off, it's just everything goes away. It's not worrying about school, worrying about family. It's just run.
Come kind of naturally to you, where it just was the moment of the race cleared out, or is that something you've really worked on that you maybe didn't have freshman year or sophomore year?
That's a great question, honestly. I think that as a freshman, I would just like joke around before meets, indoor warm-ups, I would kind of horse, and the gun would go off as a freshman, and I'd be like, oh, I gotta run. And I'm just thinking about, what am I doing after this? What's for dinner? Like mid-race, but as I've matured and evolved, meditation has really been a big thing for me. Just after practice, kind of closing my eyes, not a long time, 5-10 minutes, and just visualizing my race pre-meet.
You found yourself in a little bit of a pinch in your freshman year, injured. Maybe you thought, where do I go from here? But you branched out, found a new sport, and became very motivated in it. What advice would you give someone that finds themselves in that spot, and any of the young guys or girls out there who might want to get out here and run track?
I think that the biggest thing is find what you love to do. I experimented in my craft. I didn't start out as a sprinter. I played soccer, the whole trial. I played soccer, I played football, I tried baseball. I tried all the sports, and I think I kind of found track at the perfect time. I think if I found it any later, that it would have been too late to get where I am today. And all these other schools that you're gonna run track as a 5th, 6th, 7th grader. But I think one thing I would say is just find your passion. If you try sprinting, it's not for you, try mid-distance, then try distance, try cross country. It's not all about what like people tell you to do, it's what you love to do. So like if someone says, oh, you're not a good sprinter, I wasn't good when I first started. I was 3rd, 4th, 5th person on the team. And so I think if that's your passion, you just have to push for it. You can't let anybody tell you different.
And once again, thank you to Tony for letting us do that interview, the full 20-minute uncut interview this afternoon, right here on Shepherd Hill Sports Zone and on our YouTube page. Stay updated for updates. Stay tuned for updates. Anyway, that's all for me. Enjoy your weekend. I'll be back here on Monday. Good night.
Thanks for watching Shepherd Hill Sports Zone, the only place for Rams sports news.